Well, good morning everybody. I'm just really going to talk briefly about what we're doing at Highgrove. I mean, I'm lucky enough to work for a man who sees the bigger picture. You know, he understands a lot of things that I think many people don't. He's able to bring all those ends together. One of his favourite organisations is the RSBT because he understands the importance of the work that this organisation does. I think one of the strands of the farm is genetic conservation, be it animal or plant. We know that we now depend on fewer genes than ever for our food. I'm linking it into food now because I think that is really key. We live in a society that has a lot of knowledge, but it doesn't seem to have the wisdom to use that knowledge. And someone said to me that knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, and wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. And I think we are at a point in civilization where we really have lost our way. Now, in terms of the livestock on the farm, we've kept an awful lot of different breeds over the years. We tended to concentrate on larger numbers of fewer breeds now, but we have Gloucester cattle, that's our county breed. We have British whites. We have still have Hebridean sheep, some Tamworth pigs, a few Shetlands, Irish Moyles. The list goes on and on. But the idea is obviously to keep a pure nucleus group of particular breeds. And when Foot and Mouth came, it really highlighted the advantage of having these purebred groups split up as much as possible. Why is it important? Well, in nature, genetic diversity is a strength. If you look at what we're doing, mankind, we are doing the complete opposite. So we rely on fewer genes than ever for our food. It puts us in a very vulnerable position. That alone is a reason for us to value very highly our genetic heritage. And it should be regarded as value as all of the historic buildings that we preserve, probably more so. And I think for us to move to the future, as my boss just said, we need the broadest genetic base. Otherwise we're doomed. It's not really an option, this is something we really have to wake up to. And it's happening because really multinational control of our gene pool is driving us in a certain direction. So we're very much governed in our behaviour by the approach of these companies and the control that they exert over us. The other thing is that I always enjoy with all of the old genetics that we use is we have a very different point of marketing. You know, the flavour of the meat from the rare breed animals, or the plants that we grow, the unusual grains, or the fruit is always very different. And actually, we're genetically programmed to interpret taste as something very positive. And we go for good tastes because it actually means something. It's actually about the nutrients in the food that we're eating, and that ultimately impacts on our health. So I suppose, last few words, diversity is the way forward. Uniformity is the complete opposite of that, and that is what we're being driven towards. So we have to really get that into our heads that diversity is a good thing at all levels. We talk about soil biomes. Diversity is falling in our soil biomes, in our gut biomes, in the genetics that we use. It's all variations on the same theme. I could whittle on for ages. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, David. At the heart of Dumfries House Estate is the home farm, a native breed beef and sheep farm, which has been highly successful since the estate was taken on. Recently, the last 18 months, a little bit of woodland has turned into the most incredible education facility, a farm designed around native and rare breeds to show local school children where their food comes from. So I'm going to pass over to Denise and John to tell you more about it.
Dumfries House home farm and country house, together with 2,000 acres, was saved by His Royal Highness Prince Charles, Duke of Rothesay, 10 years ago. The estate, it's situated 12 miles from Ayr, 35 miles from Glasgow, and sits between two small mining villages, Auchinleck and Cunnock. And access to the whole estate is very important because Prince Charles, our patron, Prince Charles, Duke of Rothesay, wants all local communities to be involved. I have been manager at Home Farm since April 2014, and with a staff of 3, a shepherdess, tractor driver, general farm worker, and Denise. We farm 800 acres, and we're currently in organic conversion. We all know that this is a sort of slow process, but hopefully with the support and knowledge of various sources, including the Scottish Organic Producers Association, we will be successful. The soil at Dumfries House, unfortunately, is heavy clay, compact, and the fields will need a fair bit of attention. So we're an all grass farm, but it is ideal for roughly 100 pedigree beef shorthorn cows, a small herd of white bred cows, and with the intention of the white breds, we sort of hope to improve and increase the small herd that we've got. In conjunction with the Rare Breed Survival Trust and the estate, we are hoping to help with a successful breeding programme with Venals. The springborn calves that we have on the estate, hopefully females will go on to replacements or sold as pedigree stock. Hopefully, at some point soon, the beef that we produce will be sort of used in the restaurant cafe on the estate. The sheep, we run 650 mainly Scotch mules, and with the intention of using the Border Leicester tub and keeping more females for our own replacements. The lambs that we have on the farm are presently sold at the local auction market, and these are also being used on the estate, and feedback has been very positive. The estate as a whole, moving livestock around the country house and with the fields, with the grazing fields surrounding the country house and the gardens, and the volume of visitors, the estate, it just makes it very difficult to move livestock around, and even more so now that the education farm is open up to community groups and soon the general public. Also, the various events that take on the place, we need cattle and sheep moved about to suit. So stock rotation is very important. The high rainfall in Ayrshire doesn't really help. But on the whole, the running of Home Farm, it's a challenge, but it's a pleasure, which I hope with the team I have working there will be successful and able to fulfil the Prince's expectations of a viable and sustainable working farm. And now I'll pass it on to Denise.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have to say what an absolute pleasure it's been to listen to all the speakers before, all about the genetics and what we are trying to do to preserve and increase numbers of the rare breeds, and the fantastic facilities here at Tremolers as well. Okay, briefly, I'm here to give a brief description of the new education farm on Dumfries House estate. It is called Valentin's Farm after Valentin P. Berg, and it was opened in June by Prince Charles, the Duke of Rothesay. The education building itself is made traditionally from oak, and the whole farm sits in approximately 10 acres. It includes a specially made sheep paddock with traditionally made sheepfold, 3 little piggies themed pigsties, also goose, duck and turkey houses, which were all built with the help of the Prince's Foundation apprentices. We are all rare breeds based on the farm, which we have 2 main objectives. Teach children about native rare breeds, why they are rare, where they come from, and also where do the children's food come from. EI, farm to fork. They get to meet and feed all the animals, getting close up to them and feeding them and introducing them to them. We're also actively engaging in a breeding programme to increase the numbers of the animals, and we are passionately pushing the rare breeds to the wider audience. We're also hoping, with the help of Ruth here, to increase and hoping to introduce more breeds onto the education farm. The animals were sourced with the help of Ruth are Tamworth and land-raised pigs, Castle Milk Murret and Border Leicester sheep, Veinal, white-bred and beef shorthorn cattle, Scotch Dumpy and Scotch Grey hens, Shetland ducks and Shetland geese, and last but not least, a personal favourite of Prince Charles, Tom the Chronowalsic turkey. Thank you.
Thank you all for speaking. That's fantastic to hear of all the work that's happening and all the work that will sort of happen in the future as well. And yeah, are there any questions?
Just wanted to know, you're not that far from Glasgow. Do you get quite a lot of children and students out from Glasgow? Because it'd be very useful to see what the countryside's about.
Absolutely. With it being open just in June there, we're just getting like primary school children just now. They're also from the local area into Ayr, and also groups from Glasgow. And of course the children from Glasgow, they haven't seen so much. So they get and it's really quite mind-blowing to see the reactions of the children when they meet Hilda and Gilda, who's my two Tamworth pigs, and they're feeding them and interacting with them. The faces change, they light up, but also they give me feedback on what meats and what products we get from that particular animal. It's overwhelming. It's lovely to see. So, thank you.
We are entirely dependent on the goodwill of owners and breeders who offer animals for collection. But against that, we also have a series of risk matrices which we've drawn up, which list not only the rarity in numerical terms, but also things like geographic concentration, how many animals already are in the gene bank, what the other risks and threats to the breeds are. So it sort of is a more complex version of our watch list, and that also governs the work we do. So for instance, we would love to collect another traditional Hereford bull, but we have so many traditional Herefords in the bank because the Milk Marketing Board gave us 25 bulls 15 years ago, that it's quite hard for us to justify the expenditure on that. However, if somebody was to offer a cow for embryo collection, we would consider that, as we have no traditional Hereford embryos. So it is a flexible process, and I'm sorry not to be able to give a black and white answer, but that's a little taste of what we have to do.
One other point as well, what funding we've got as well. As a charity, sorry, we receive no government funding. I won't mention VAT again, honestly, folks. And you know, we are a charity, and we need £500,000 a year more than we have now to do our job. And you know, we need everybody in this room to help us do that fundraising at some point. I'm not necessarily asking you to put your hand in your pocket now, but we need the support. We need to get that noise up there, because £500,000 these guys is not very much a year. And I really do mean, write to your MPs, we need that funding so we can go and save all these breeds and save our heritage. We can't do it on our own.
If we get a specific fund to collect from something, we will use it for that purpose. So yeah, that does come into it.
Yeah.
Fred Barreley with the Suffolk Horse Society. I think what we've seen and heard this morning, and the facilities we've seen here today from the horse world and the equine world is fantastic. We must realise, and I think people perhaps outside the horse world might not fully realise, what expertise we have in this country, not just at this level, but across the equestrian world. And that not only in the non-thoroughbred world, but obviously in the thoroughbred world as well. It is essential that the horse world unites to help to work together to push forward the agendas on marketing all our horse breeds across the world, along with the expertise that goes with it. I'm Swiss, I've been here for 30 years. You have no idea how respected this country is for its horsemanship and its horses, and the diversity of breeds and equestrian events that are still going on a day-to-day basis, and the diversity of those in this country. Make use of it. And to make use of that, the horse world has to come together, and it has to maintain quality. And when we come to talking about rare breeds and preserving the genetic material of rare breeds, only preserve the best that is available in those breeds across the species. There's no point dumping semen into a bucket from animals that are subpar and not up to standard from a commercial point of view, potentially in the long term as well.
Thank you. Yes, temperament confirmation, the use of these animals is absolutely vital. If there's not a market, there isn't a breed. So,
Goes to thank the second panel. And I think what we're trying to get over with this second panel is that even if you've not actually helped us collect our gene bank, and I do say ours because it's a national gene bank, it's not just RBST's gene bank. Those are two of the words, sort of 3 or 4 of the words I really frustrate about. We're collecting this for the nation, we're collecting it for the breeders and the breed societies, but the gene bank is 2 parts. You know, it is our cryogenic gene bank, but without the living gene bank we can't have that. And most of you guys out here are doing the same work as David and Denise and John are doing, is you're keeping our living gene bank going, and that is, at the end of the day, the most important thing, and really is what has made our country so green and so pleasant and so lovely. So really, I'd like to thank this panel, but at the same time I'd like to thank everybody here for the work you're doing on gene banking, the living gene bank. So thank you very much.